Hi, how are you doing today? I hope you are doing great and challenged at the same time with this PLMS journey. Once again, Larry here, and today I'll be sharing to you integration strategies for PLMS. At the end of this module, you should be able to apply the following in your PLMS. We would be able to apply different strategies where we incorporate PLMS in your class in terms of classroom management. Learn the different implementation strategies and how to manage PLMS, manage the PLMS distribution and collection, and at the same time, I will also be discussing the different levels, modes, and integration for our PLMS. We are now in the closing stages of our PLMS journey, and this time we will discuss the various strategies in the distribution and collection of PLMS as part of your class integration or classroom management. We will also share to you some limitation of the platforms, which hopefully you can also share something later on in terms of how we can further improve the platform. At the start of the pandemic, it has been a challenge for the educational sector to deliver lessons and assessments to our students. It was a time when we heard more often the terms on flexible learning, digital and non-digital strategies. This was indeed a challenging time, and up to now, we have learned so much from it, and it has now also become our new normal in our delivery methods of learning. Delivery method of learning were not limited to paper and online. There were other options that we could take advantage of. PLMS is one of those. So in terms of learning strategies and its delivery, we are not limited to utilizing books or printed materials, but also a digital platform. For PLMS, we could consider and look into the educational packets like reading resources in PDF file, ebook, and PowerPoints, and those teachers and students who have access to computers even without internet connection, it is one of those that where PLMS can be taken advantage of. And this is one way for schools to be able to deliver even assessments. As long as they have computer at home, they can take advantage. They can perform take-home exercises, perform assignments, and so on. So let's run through on what PLMS is all about. So it is a kind of information system that is transferable, okay, to multiple environments and manageable to a variety of infrastructure specifications using any USB flash drive. So this is a very simple approach actually in terms of delivery. Uh, downloadable into laptops and desktop computers. It runs on a more popular operating system, which is Windows, and capacity is dependent on the device. So I believe this has been covered in the previous modules as well. So it is actually a Moodle-based portable learning management system that organizes classroom information and learning activities even without internet connectivity. So which is quite helpful, especially for those students who do not have internet coverage at all. So teachers or the class pass with self-paced using restrictions and completions, as we have discussed in the previous modules. So there's actually an asynchronous strategy here, or offline delivery. Uh, you can come up with unlimited classrooms based on the number of subjects that can be placed in the PLMS, and it could be based on a topic or a weekly option. So, and it is also applicable to any courses. It is designed using pedagogical principles to help teachers develop innovative teaching and learning communities. So teachers need to set up the virtual classroom. You can upload your reading packets, such as your PDF files, your PowerPoints, even your video lectures. Teachers can also set up assessments. So it could be objective type, essays, or activities that require file uploading, and so on. So for PLMS, there are actually different levels, modes, and distribution, as well as terminals of integration. So mind you, you're not alone in the implementation of this one. So it's also ideal that you, together with your colleagues, coordinate together. And it is very important, in spite of its technical aspects. I would say this is one of the deliveries that is quite actually useful, especially if you consider this for educational packets. So as you can see here, we have three levels. The first is resource management. So you can imagine this one as a resource or repository of files. Okay, your documents for the class, reading, uh, materials. So you can actually place them in the PLMS. Second is activity management. So if you have experienced your online LMS, it's exactly similar, except that you don't need internet connection for this particular instance. And third is both. So you can take advantage of the PLMS as a resource management and at the same time as for the activity management. In here, we discuss the different modes where we can integrate PLMS. So the first mode of integration is actually specific. So the teacher prepares, distributes PLMS for a particular purpose. For example, conducting exams, probably practice exams for board reviews, reading purposes, or for any other specific purpose. So in this case, the teacher collects at a specified date. Okay, so in order for the teacher to grade what the student has done for that particular period. The second one is periodic. So the teacher here prepares and distributes PLMS in a periodic mode of integration. So for example, you have your prelims, midterms, and finals, and then the teacher, at the end of each period, would collect the PLMS again for grading purposes. The third one is actually full integration. So the teacher prepares and distributes PLMS in a full mode of integration in relation to the various classes or to our specific class perhaps. So he will allocate a particular day uh, to based on her class schedules. Okay, and the various activities you have there are already set up. So the activities are restricted, so on, those things. And the teacher collects at the end of each period or the end of the finals, perhaps, for grading purposes. So these are the different modes of integration. So this time we discuss on the different distribution options. So basically, it could be more straightforward for this one. The first is actually between the teacher and the student. If this is going to be on a one-on-one basis, you can just imagine the teacher giving the student the PLMS. Okay, and then the student eventually would give the PLMS copy to the teacher at the end of a particular period. And then the second is actually if there are multiple virtual courses that are involved. So there will be some kind of a distribution option that we can implement. So looking at this one, just imagine if there are four teachers and they each have different virtual course. So we have to integrate all of those virtual courses into one PLMS, and we can do that one. So after which, there's going to be a distribution option to the student. So one is this USB drive could be given to the student manually. or individually. Second, they can probably visit the school and go to the laboratory and or some computer kiosk where they can actually download the PLMS copy, and then to the cloud where they can go to an internet cafe. And this can be done only at the very beginning because that's your preparation at the start is quite probably loaded and heavy, but the rest of the time it's more of you can actually it's a waiting time for you while the students is actually performing or doing those assessments or reading on their own. So it's a self-paced learning for them. And then so you have one flash drive with multiple instances of PLMS or multiple or one flash drive, one PLMS instance with multiple virtual courses inside it. Now, in terms of collection, uh, this is also pretty much a reverse of what we have done. So there will be it's quite of a challenge actually, but uh, this should also be one. I would say it's more of a dedication also for being a teacher as a way for our students to be able to learn in spite of the difficulties that they have. So let's just say we have 40 students and we have provided them 40 USB flash or flash drives individually, right? So the students provide or returns a PLMS version or the PLMS copy personally. They can also go through a laboratory or through a network, and then they can also upload it through the cloud. So they will just be doing this at the end of probably a period or the end of the semester. At this time, the teacher then checks uh, the different virtual classrooms for each student. And then the teacher 2 also does the same, teacher 3 also does the same, as well as teacher 4 based on its virtual courses. So the teacher extracts scores and transfer them to spreadsheets manually. So from there, you are able to perform or continue with your grading process. So the next option is actually to teacher, from teacher to organizer to students and vice versa. So as you can see here, based on the student to teacher distribution earlier, this time we have an organizer. So this one is like a middleman who organizes or do the importing of all the virtual courses into one PLMS instance. So this will actually be a good option for those who want to implement PLMS or those who teachers who collaborated and actually implemented virtual courses into one instance of PLMS. So each of those PLMS or each of those virtual courses from different teachers, they're going to create a backup for each of the virtual courses that they have that will be imported by the organizer. So it could be an IT person in the school who could help you with that one. And then from the organizer, you will have one instance, and then this will be distributed the same as the one that I have discussed earlier through personal, through a LAN or a computer kiosk in the campus, or through the cloud. And then they will be distributed individually to the students. And then during the collection, it will be done or collected manually. So the same process, a reverse perhaps. So you have personal, the students does this one at the end of the period, and then this time it will go to the organizer again. So the organizer will create a backup of the individual virtual courses. So VC1 with 40 backups. So this is 40 because you will have 40 students who have individual versions of the PLMS. So each of those 40 backups will be distributed to the teacher. And then you're going to restore that individually. So all of those teachers will be restoring them individually and then checking those virtual courses for grading. So I know this might be quite a challenge for a big class size, but again, there are different modes that we can utilize here. So it's really up to you. You can actually do a mixture of that. So it doesn't necessarily have that the students will be doing the assessments, or you can probably have or utilize the PLMS as purely as an educational packet where they learn, they do the reading and so on. And then you might want to have the final exam or major exams in the school. So in here, we are going to discuss on the terminals of integration. So the first one is actually everywhere. Teachers, students can work and manage his or her PLMS to any computer like in home, kiosk, cafe, or laboratory. So in these integrations, students need to save PLMS into the desktop or laptop. The second is limited. So PLMS is installed in a controlled computer station like a computer laboratory or kiosk. So student needs to visit the laboratory in this case or the particular station. And in this integration, USB flash drive is no longer necessary, but they can access the PLMS on a network setup. The third one is actually mix. So everywhere plus limited. So based on the levels and the mode of your implementation. So you can actually work or mix it up, whichever would best work for you. So the PLMS is actually based on Dr. Dave Marshall's research on mobile learning, or it was inspired rather on the mobile learning experiences in the Philippine education setting using the portable Moodle. So in 2015, just a highlight here, at least 120 teachers from at least 60 HEIs in Region 7 through the CHED Fernet funds were actually trained or at least introduced to this PLMS. And in 2019, at least 120 teachers from at least 60 HEIs in Region 6, 7, and 8 through CHED CPE funds. So it was actually a good learning platform. And and just imagine this was prior to pandemic. So it's quite an inspiration. So as you can see, the PLMS is probably a little bit technical and probably not too savvy for those who are not technical people. And in relation to that, the PLMS has also its own limitations. For one, because it is portable, PLMS is susceptible to virus attacks that needs proper handling among the users. So this has to be taken in charge. So the first line of defense is actually installing an antivirus software. Second, it is designed for laptop or desktop running in a Windows operating systems only. So unfortunately, this cannot be run in a mobile setup or for Mac computers. And the third one is that limited size in every upload. So as you can see, when we upload the files, we have to, as much as possible, limit it because it will also bloat the total size of the PLMS instance. So that's why although the 8 gig flash drive is more than sufficient for this PLMS. So for every limitation, there's actually a corresponding solution. Hopefully, we could be able to further improve this over time. We believe that you are doing well for PLMS, so we're going to challenge you on how you could probably implement this one in your class. And this is one of the final activity that we would like to ask from you. So as you can see in this slide, we have here the different uh, what do you call this data that we wanted to ask from you, and this final activity is something that we would really want you to do so that we could also get some feedback at the same time from you in terms of how you implemented it. So the implementation plan are the following. So You have the option there. It's actually listed down. So you are limited. You can probably explore or experiment for now at the same time, uh, so that you can actually comply with this thing, and probably later on you can do a full-blown implementation at your respective school. So purpose of integration. So we need the details also. So you have your name, email address, the school address, and what college or department where you're coming from, and you want to probably consider what probably for one course for now. So please indicate the course title and description as well. And then yeah, you can probably come up with your own or started creating your own VC, the one that you have started, and just polish it a little bit, and then try to implement the following, so you can also answer the respective questions below. So the levels, the modes, distribution that you have done, and the terminal, okay, as well. And we would like to ask also a copy of the PLMS that you have created for this one. Okay. Uh, it might be a lot, but we would be very much willing to assist you with regards to this one. Okay. So hopefully you would be able to achieve this implementation activity. Good luck. So as we continue in this journey, we would really want to hear from you what you think, and we could collaborate for more ways in how we can further improve the platform, because we believe this is really something that even nowadays, if you want to have to leave your students some reading materials or activities, you can use PLMS, and yeah, just give it to them, and it's something for them that they can actually explore on their own. So, in summary for today, I hope you are learning something. And sure enough, we have covered a little bit more detail on what this PLMS is for, the distribution and collection options, the different levels of integration, the modes and integration of PLMS, the limitations as well, and the implementation plan. So I hope you are learning from this PLMS. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We'd be more than happy to assist you whenever or whatever technical issues you may have. So thank you. And once again, this is Larry Vincent Rancha for today's module on integration strategies.